Initially, the Anunnaki, whom you call angels, star beings or extraterrestrials, transplanted life on the planet Earth. However, this happened after the crash of one of the satellites which accompanied Nibiru. 24 billion years ago, when Nibiru, meaning planet of the crossing, or planet that crosses the skies, launched out from the planet Rizq, on one of its routine trips in search of minerals and natural resources such as chlorophyll, gold, silver, diamonds, platinum, and uranium on other planets like Lamu, Mars, Tiamat, Earth, Anshar, Titan, Kishar, Jupiter, of the Milky Way galaxy, and many planets in the six-star or sun constellation called Orion. On this particular exploration trip, 2 more planets were added. Ea, Neptune, and Anu, Uranus, to the Milky Way galaxy. There was an electrical storm on Ea, Neptune, which caused Nibiru to veer off its path and bump into the planet Maldek, Vulcan, breaking up part of the planet into pieces. The remaining part of the planet was cast off into space, becoming known as the Lost Planet and a part of the Zeta Reticuli galaxy. The Anunnaki set up a base on Mars 450,000 years ago before coming to the planet Earth. After the gold was mined, it was transported by way of smaller crafts that were half-mile by half-mile to these bases. Then to the cylinder-shaped crafts that were 30 to 60 miles, parked on the dark side of the moon. Then it was transferred to Nibiru. There was also a laboratory called Shimti on Mars, also called Lamu, meaning deity of war. It is in this laboratory that they placed the first cell inside of dolphin from the planet Vulcan, now called Maldek, deity the dolphin. It was these cells that were transplanted and transported into the seas of this planet Chi or Earth 24 billion years ago. These were the single-cell organisms called protozoa. In Greek, proto, which means first in time, and zoa from zoia, meaning animals. The simplest of this group is the amoeba, a small mass of transparent protoplasm which does not have a definite shape or cell wall. Amoeba is also the first single-celled animal to originate. It can be found in water or moist soil and reproduces asexually, meaning to produce alone. Fungi also arose from this single-celled organism and played an important role in nature. It breaks down the bodies of dead organisms into chemical substances that can be used by other organisms. Fungi live as parasites and reproduce either sexually or asexually. The transportation of protozoa involved the development of the first animals. The evolution of the amoeba, fungi and algae lived underwater and evolved onto land. These cells began to form larger molecules, until protein was formed. It was this formation that also resulted in the prototype of the living cell. It is hard for you to accept that you were made to evolve from intelligent amoeba and fungi, however this was your beginning. Keep in mind that this did not happen by chain reactions but only by the will of the Most High Anu. Scientists found the fossil remains of algae, which they dated 3.1 to 3.4 billion years ago, but in 1980 AD, in Western Australia, scientists found the fossil remains of multi-celled chain-like organisms that were much older than the fossil remains of algae. It was dated to be older than 3.5 billion years old. Thus, the cycle of life on Earth went from intelligent to simple, then not so intelligent back to intelligent, and not the way scientists have claimed that it did. For many years humans have pondered about the evolution of the inhabitants of the planet Earth. The question was in the minds of humans as to where each species and each life form evoluted. For billions of years, life continued to consist of no more than simple cells, yet with intelligence. These living organisms evolved out of the water through the ammonia and onto the soil. Millions of years after that, the next group of animals developed called metazoans. Their bodies were composed of specialized cells grouped to form tissues, organs and systems, much like the animals of today. These animals multiplied and diversified, and over a period of 19 million years, evolved into man and many types of animals. This was the first evolution of life on the planet Earth. In the Triassic period, 245 million years ago, after the Paleozoic era, and Mesozoic era, which are eras that dinosaurs ruled, man was at the Homo erectus stage of evolution. It was during this age that extraterrestrials interrupted Earth's evolutionary process and started breeding with Earth's inhabitants. The Maldachians, who are also known as Valkuns, or troglodytes, Trojans, survived the crash when Nibiru hit their planet, which happened 24 billion years ago, and thrived in the seas of this newly formed planet called Tiamat, which much later became known as Earth, started as new life forms on the planet Tiamat. They set up kingdoms called Yams under waters. They lived in the seas of Tiamat, Earth, for millions of years. Their home base is under what is known as the Bermuda Triangle. They developed into intelligent humanoids by abducting and mixing their seed with humans. There were also other species of extraterrestrials like the Greys, which some dinosaurs evolved from. These Rumardians came from the star constellation of Auriga in the Capella star formation, and some from Arcturus and Pleiades. The Reptilians captured them and ruled them from Rigel and Betelgeuse, Bellatrix, Mintaka, Al-Haadi, and Al-Natak, in the Orion star constellation. The Maldachians' planet Valkun was originally called Maldek. Maldek is the original home of the Luciferians or reptilians. It was located after the planet Ea, Neptune. Maldek was 27,005 miles in diameter. Maldek had a population of billions living under the seas of Kama and Vadu or sub-cities. Maldek also had 2 moons. This was the planet of Mazmakia or Trojans, Troglodytes, Dragons, and Voltex. All these are names for the same beings, just different names for them from different planets. The Maldachians' average height is 3.5 feet to 4.5 feet. And their heads are extremely large. The Trojans have 2 round eyes without pupils and no ears or a protruding nose, just 2 small holes in the nose area. Their mouths are a slit without lips. The Trojan is hairless and has no teeth. Its hands have 4 webbed fingers and no thumbs. Alongside with the dinosaurs, you had the evolutionary humans. Amongst the different species of evolutionary human you have the Australopithecines. There were 2 forms of Australopithecines that could walk and were erect. Their brain was 1/3 the size of modern human's brain. The larger ones weighed 222 to 250 pounds. This is your original Watusi, Cuthite tribe which Zakar, Adam came from. They had 8 ether hair and were 7 feet and over. The Cuthite mixed with the Hindus who are the original black man. The Hindus bred with the Shaggies which are another set of beings that were coming to the planet Earth. The Shaggy beings are from the Orion constellation. They are known as Sirians and also Nummos. The Shaggies are 7 to 9 feet tall and are completely covered in hair that was straight or flank, meaning they had dead flank dog-like or ape hair. Their skin is similar to humans but hard to detect because of their thick coat of hair. The Shaggies had 6 ether hair. They also have large round ears and a short neck but very thick. Their body is very muscular. Nowadays they avoid humans and have a vegetarian diet, although some are known to eat meat. The albino of them live in Tibet and other mountainous regions of the earth. The brownish Shaggies live in the woods of New York, and there are others that live in the swamps like those of the Louisiana bayous. The superior race of them are telepathic, therefore they are able to dodge humans. They carry a foul odor, but are extremely intelligent. They grunt and roar and can speak. These Shaggies have sex with other animals. They used to come back and forth from Orion to Earth to hunt dinosaurs, and the other prehistoric animals. They also came after the Narians who came to Earth before them, when their star Sirius collapsed. Their star was also Sirius B, which is actually a white dwarf star and is very small. Its twin star Sirius A collapsed. Their rotation is around each other. There has also been a sighting in Louisiana where a large webbed footprint was found in the bayou or the swampland. Later there were sightings of a large creature described as very hairy. The webbed foot lets you know this creature is part reptilian, and the hairiness lets you know that it was part shaggy. There are 16 different kinds of reptilians. There is a type of species of reptilians called gargoyles that have special wings, which are flaps of skin supported by long ribs of dracona. They can be folded back against the body. It is obvious that the qualities have been ascribed to vampires. Take a close look at this word vampire. V, short for Vulcan, and empire is empire. The A and E are interchangeable in the Old English, so it would be V empire. So what do you get? Vulcan empire. There are people today who suffer from what is being termed as a disorder such as hemophilia, which renders them in constant need of blood. They are nothing but your modern day vampires and Dracula. The word Dracula, which means son of the Draco, has come from these creatures. The male species called Valkyria have the ability to fly. Their leader elite are the Draconis. They are from Draco, which is the 6-star constellation Orion, meaning it has 6 suns, and that would mean 6 solar systems, with many kinds of life forms. They are humanoid in shape and reptilian in heritage. Their ex-leader was Haten, a warrior, who is Draconian. He is a reptilian who defected from the reptilians while here on Earth and reformed to fight against the reptilians. On behalf of humans, he is commander of Ashtar Command. Some reptilians are of the neutral gender and reproduce like lizards. The male species nurtures the eggs, and female just lays them. These beings are also known as the dragon race, and the symbology usually includes the winged serpent. There are elements of their species which do not have wings. The soldier class and scientist have none. The reptilians are all cold-blooded and have to have a balanced environment to maintain body temperature. The soldier class species can bury themselves in the ground and wait long periods of time in order to ambush their enemy. If needed, they can survive on one very large meal every few weeks. As a species, they are suited for space travel due to their ability to hibernate. These reptoids have scales which protect them from moisture loss. They have no sweat glands. The scales are much larger on their backs, making the skin waterproof. The scales elsewhere on the body are more flexible. They have long thin arms reaching just above the knees. At the end of these long arms they have 3 webbed fingers with an opposing thumb. The eyes are cat-like and large. They have twin nostrils at the end of a short stubby muzzle. they are mostly meat eaters. The mouth is more like a slit, but they have teeth which are differentiated into incisors, canines, and molars. They average from 6 to 7 feet in height. The reptilians, amphibians, humanoids have been interacting with Earth for ages. Many contactees and abductees repeatedly describe an insignia of a flying serpent on a shoulder patch, a badge, a medallion on a helmet. The reptilians originally could only stay out of water for only 3 hours. Now they can stay out of water for 6 to 8 hours and retreat back to water only at night. These reptilians stand 6 to 8 feet in height. With dark green scaly skin. They have no hair on their bodies, just as a frog or snake. They are called serpent people and they have an amber glow around their head when they get excited. They have a pear-shaped face, and glowing yellow or red eyes. The serpent race lives under the ground. The reptilian and other types of beings have underwater bases and have been living there for centuries. Right beneath Lake Ontario there have been sightings that was seen on the Canadian and American side, and for 27 years people have reported strange occurrences over and around the lake. These beings communicate telepathically and are able to put thoughts into the heads of humans to get them to do what they want them to do. They are a very disagreeable negative species of extraterrestrials who see humans as food. There is a series on television called The Invaders that depicts these extraterrestrials as Martians, who are controlling the mind of a human being. Of course they will make it seem like this is science fiction. However, it is very real. When they are described as human in shape or humanoid, I mean only as far as their outside appearance or physical body structure. Many do take on human forms due to mixing and breeding with humans. Proof of breeding is seen in the side effects that show up in the genetic materials in humans. Disorders that show up physically as in flat slope heads, puffy fingertips, long nails, webbed hands, and eczema, as well as a certain attitude. It is not easily detected. There are other strange defects that have resulted from mixing the genes of humans in with these extraterrestrials. There is a tribe of people in Zimbabwe known as the ostrich people who speak of an extraterrestrial craft that landed there over 200 years ago. Their population is about 100 in number, and whenever they have children they are born with the same two-toed feet. Every year they go to the forest to a silver dome that has been smashed and covered by the plants of the forest. Then they dance around, firstly undressing and then coating themselves in a glowing silver paint until the break of day, in remembrance of when their ancestors came in a large spinning sun that had fallen from the sky. There is more proof of the presence of reptiles on the planet Earth by the remains found that show the existence of a highly evolved reptiles that were here long before humans had come. These remains were found near Aalborg, Denmark by construction workers in August 1989 AD. These findings consisted of spears, hammers and scrapers, which shows a certain amount of intelligence. Now the date of these fragments is dated no less than 50 million years ago, which would place us in the dinosaur age, which began 65 million years ago. These beings are described as standing 12 to 15 feet in height, short, but powerfully built arms and legs, with large four-fingered hands and brains larger than humans today. Their face had two large cat-like eyes and two nostrils at the end of a short stubby muzzle.